So once you adjust your screen, take time, no rush, to find a seat. And what I mean by a seat is a comfortable seat in which you can stay for some time. Now, because we're working with the compactness of the hips, I showed how to put on the yoga pata some time ago. So those of you who have that second long traction belt can use it to create the compactness in the hips. One of the reasons we sit in swastikasana, sukhasana, padmasana versus siddhasana is that unlike siddhasana, the compactness of the hips is inherent in swastikasana, some degree in virasana, certainly in padmasana or lotus pose. So if you want to put the belt on so you can experience more acutely the compactness of the hips, and we want to, it's not just to feel the compactness of the hips, it's basically in service so that the trunk can ascend, the spine, particularly the lower spine, can be tall. So, always we want to know why we're doing what we're doing. So for those of you who tend to overarch, the yoga pata around the kneecaps and hitting at the back of the sacrum is helpful. You can also sit in Ardha Padmasana. If Padmasana doesn't come easily to you, then of course don't sit in it. Okay, but just to clarify the difference between sitting in swastikasana or sukhasana, which are synonyms, comfortable or easy pose, or and siddhasana. So siddhasana is not as compact. The thighs are much wider away. Okay, so as some of you have just come into the class, settle yourselves in a comfortable position, create just the very right and ripe conditions now. It's nice to think of it that way, that you're setting the right and ripe conditions for your spine to be tall, for your lower spine to be tall, because we're addressing that in today's session. You can pronate the palms on the roots of the thighs, or take the arms out to the side to bring the shoulder blades flat on the back. So again, do what you need to do. Just imagine, we were sitting for 20 or 30 or 40 minutes. And then you can allow the eyes to close. Feel the firmness of the shoulder blades on the back, the descension of the trapezius muscle, the skin away from the neck, the ears perpendicular to the floor, the spreading of the eyes outward to the outer corners of the eyes and even beyond toward the temples. And then you might notice sound inside you, or sound in the room, or sound outside. You might notice thinking. And if you notice thinking, see if you can relate to thinking as you did to perhaps sound a moment ago. We generally don't build up many stories around sound, especially if it were a familiar sound. See if you can adopt the same perspective when it comes to thinking as you do with a sound, particularly a familiar sound. You might notice many stories we create around thoughts. Again, can you see if you can relate to thinking as you did with sound? And there's a wonderful quip by a famous Tibetan meditation teacher that said, "Don't be in the construction business. Relax, be at ease." And then you can repeat to yourself your own personal vow, or this one: may I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. And may I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. Just for a moment, pause and see if any way you've lost that vertical trunk, the lift of the spine. Take a nice deep inhalation and feel the side walls of the chest expand on that inhalation. And then, of course, your exhalation. And then take an inhalation in that same manner, feeling the inhalation touch the side walls of the chest so that you're sitting up taller and taller. Now, when you're ready, allow the eyes to open and simply stretch out your legs. So we're going to start in Supta Virasana. For those of you whose knees cannot endure Supta Virasana for 4 or 5 minutes, then do it on the chair, Tommy, remember from Tuesday. Or if you don't have a chair to do chair Supta Virasana, do Supta Swastikasana followed by Supta Baddha Konasana, because we'll be in it for some time. Okay, so Supta Virasana. I think everyone knows Supta Virasana, but if you don't, just give me a hand signal and I'll show it. Sit in Virasana for a bit of time and do at least one arm position, or Hastasana or Balanguliasana. So welcome, many of you have come in since I started, Marina, and let's see who's here, Julia and Val and Nancy and Lindsay and Lana and Janet and Gail and Yukiko and Ellen. Wonderful to see you all. Okay. Do belt the legs, because we'll stay good. That's it, Luna. Do belt the legs and make sure the thighs are not splaying out. Lana, I'm doing this for you because you reminded me, as I told you the other day, that we hadn't done it in some time, and it gets harder if you don't do Supta Virasana at least twice a week. Tom, that's good. Put the trunk, put the support behind you vertically this way. You might need it set up, be 2 bolsters or a bolster in this vertical manner. Yours is horizontal, vertical. So because if it's horizontal, Tom, you're going to get an overarching somewhere. So vertical, the trunk wants to rest back. Marina, and you can experiment with how much blanket height you need on the seat. So I just don't want you to push the abdomen forward. So I see some people are set up nicely in chair Virasana. Lindsay V, see if you want to adjust, yeah. If you're not doing Supta Virasana, Supta Baddha Konasana is good with trunk support. We'll take the arms overhead soon though, but not quite yet. Just settle down with the arms down by the side. Marina, yeah, just make sure that, yeah, I mean, the problem with the chair Virasana is that the height of the chair seat is not necessarily the height for everyone. Sometimes people need a blanket on top of, Marina, the chair seat, which I think you need. Okay, but you be the best judge. Lana, that's good. Lana, take time to prepare the feet. Yeah, especially your ankles. Roll as possible, Lana. Hi, Peggy. Okay. Head support if you need it. Good. These look, as I go around the room, many of you look quite comfortable. See that the feet don't distort, meaning they point straight back. The inner ankles want to collide to the outer thighs. Put your hands, as I like to do, wedge your fingers between the inner heels and your outer thighs and hit the inner ankles away from each other. Or sometimes you can take a pair of socks and roll it in. Yeah. And Andy, it's fine. If you want to sit up, that's fine. And then, at some point we'll recline back. Nancy, I still think, spend some time there, but it looks like a lot of height to me. But you can settle in, and then you might find taking out the height. See that the thighs are running parallel. Tom, I also think you would benefit by perhaps, and now that I'm looking at, take the bolster away because it's too thick in terms of depth, the second bolster. Take the second bolster, just take it out. Just drop it out onto the floor and then go back. Because it's, yeah. If you can get the bolster, Tom, at a slight angle, that would be beneficial as well. And I also think with one boat, you probably need a blanket on top of the chair. Marina, that's better, yeah. All right, so this is Supta Virasana. Could do that way, Lindsay V, with feet together apart and just absorb, yeah, open the chest. Okay, so everyone's settled into it. And then, yeah, so you could do it that setup, Andy, too, without the chair. Yeah, could do. I wish the height was a taller so you could, the neck could receive the height. All right. So we're going to work with hip flexion and creating a sense of tallness in the lower spine. I'm going to teach you a different way to do Supta Padangusthasana cycle that I was fortunate to have taken a class this past week with Mary Obendorf from San Diego, and she taught it this way, and I want to teach it that way as well. Okay, now when you're ready, arms overhead, reach through the fingertips. So this active stage, yes, the dowel is there or another strap. You can hold that strap to close the chain to keep the arms straight. Tom, that's good. Okay, now take the arms in Baddha Hasta, hold the wrists, those of you who are less mobile, or the upper arms. See that the elbows are on the same line as the shoulders. So Val, it'll be interesting to see, you're holding the upper arms. If you decentralize the class, holding your forearms, the elbows will come to the floor. Do you see that? And then you can use a pumping action to open the armpits. So it's not wrong to, if you want to get the elbows in line with the shoulders, so use that principle of decentralization, just holding the wrist to get that, you'll be much better off. Because if you hold the upper arms and the elbows fly up, then go wider, because otherwise you're not allowing the armpits to open. Okay, that's it. All right, and now when you're ready, don't just immediately go to the swap of Baddha Hasta, the changing across. Re-stretch the arms through, get the length of the armpits. Then the question is, can you keep the length of the armpits that you've just gleaned in Urdhva Hastasana and then go to Baddha Hasta? So oftentimes I see people just swap the cross. And actually, by just going right to left and left to right, you're bypassing a second opportunity to elongate your armpits. So change the cross, but only after you've re-stretched the arms. If anyone needs to come out, they've had enough in this posture for the legs, and you can do the leg variety, or what Lindsay V is doing, just support the trunk with straight legs. So if anyone's knees have had it, you can come up and then go back onto the trunk support, with straight legs, almost more like a supported Paryankasana straight leg position. Good. All right, now stretch the arms again, Urdhva Hastasana. And then return to the first arm position with arms outstretched beside you. Okay, and just rest there. So as I was saying, one of the reasons we don't want to walk far away from Supta Virasana is that if you don't do Supta Virasana on a regular manner, and I mean regular, I mean 1 to 2 a week, it will get more and more challenging, okay? Especially if you don't do Utthita Baddhasana and others poses that open up the frontal groins. All right, so with that said, take the hands in the arches of the feet, lead with your chest, and up you come. I'm glad to see the setups for the chair Supta Virasana were great. Take the belt off and give a good stretch to your legs in Dandasana with the feet hip width apart. You can show me in profile. Lift your lower spine up, get the tallness in the spine. And then we're going straight away classically to Adho Mukha Virasana, Child's Pose, and then to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Really use the opportunity in a wider Dandasana to seal the legs. We had a whole lesson on this some time ago. When the feet are together, it's harder to open the backs of the legs. And as Mary taught, it's really nice. I think she used the word, I really liked it, rake. Rake the hamstrings back with your fingers. Rake the hamstrings back so that the skin is not hard and the skin doesn't get caught. Rake the hamstrings. You see, I'm using my fingers to rake the hamstrings back. All right. Now, similarly, have the feet apart and be slightly outside the frontal hip bones and seal the legs to the floor. And then quickly, maintaining, not slumping back, reach up. We're not staying long, Tom, so you don't need to be at the wall or take height. So yeah, now kick the top of the sacrum, Lubna, for you forward. Resist the temptation to roll back. All right, now take the arms down. Go back to knee flexion, child's pose as preparation for Adho Mukha Svanasana. So one of the things that you'll see in this sequence, just more on a, not a nuance level, that's not the right word, but I want you to see how every pose informs the next one. So child's pose, Adho Mukha Virasana. If your buttocks don't come to the heels, remember you build up support in front of you versus building up buttocks to blanket. Take it in that order. That's good. Now crawl forward with your arms and prepare your arms. So we're back to the knee flexion, but now we're doing child's pose to prepare the arms for dog pose. Press the full palms of the hands down, that's it, Jen, go back to dog pose, child's pose, turn the inner upper arms from the inside out. So you're in child's pose. Arms can be wide apart, especially if your armpits are tight. So this is a very classic way to begin, especially Iyengar yoga, child's pose to dog pose. Imagine you were looking at your back from above. I want those shoulder blades flat and your back like a blackboard. Good, Ellen. Crawl forward. Keep turning the inner upper arms from the inside out. Okay, then when you're ready, dog pose. Have the feet wide apart, the very classical way, taking them to the outer edges of the mat. Appreciate this after the flexion of not only Supta Virasana, but child's pose. And now see if you can open the backs of the knees. You just did that in Dandasana. Have the memory of the floor now. Watch your inner heels. They want to collide. Don't let them. Resist the inner heels. Good, Betsy. Away from each other. Inner heels resist each other, right? They hit away. And now see if you can get the heels down, lift the toes up. If your heels are very high up, then walk in a smidge, but not at the expense of the thoracic spine rounding. So you can walk in maybe about an inch, 2 inches tops, in order to get the heels down and lift the toes up. Good, Andy. All right, now from here, walk the feet toward the hands and inhale, up you come. All right, now we're going to do stand in Samastiti. You can show me in profile. Val, those of you who benefit, take what you need so that your thighs, right, can move back. Val, for you, it's bringing weight to the big toe. So if you're helped by using the block, many of you, Lubna, take the block so your thighs don't come forward, right? Show me in profile. So use the block if it's helpful. If it's not helpful, then you don't, although for most people it is helpful. All right, join the feet, lift the arches, lift the kneecaps, lift the side ribs. And now reach up through your fingers as you did in Supta Virasana. Now take one hand, the left to the right or the right to the left, turn the skin as you did in child's pose. Child's pose, you did it already. See how that pose informed this pose and reach up. Make your arms straight. Use now a hand to turn the skin of the upper biceps, the lower deltoid. Good, Tom. All right, now take the arms down by your side and you can employ two methods that we've gone over. You can extend the arms fully in front and then change the cross and reach up, or take the hands, the back of the palm to the crown and reach up. Either or, you decide, and then you'll swap the interlace. So now Urdhva Baddha. Now, before you do this, remember, send a message, get the weight back to the back crown of the heel. That we just did that in dog pose. Some of you can lift the toes. If your thighs are coming forward, I beg of you to raise your toes up and heels back, thighs back, and then interlace the fingers, bound hand, and reach up. And now take the arms down, change the swap. Good, Ellen, the thighs didn't come forward. Change the swap, thighs back, weight to the back crown of the heel and go up, go straight up. The thumb side wants to drop, push up through the thumb and index finger side, thighs back, good Yuki, go. Good, all right, now take the block out, come to the top of the mat, and we're going back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. All of you are doing Adho Mukha Svanasana today, so I think it's fine. Peggy, if it bothers you, you can switch over to Prasarita Padottanasana or Modified Warrior 3. All right, reach feet together, join the feet. Okay, now I don't want to, everyone's thighs are going back. Have many of you use the block. So again, that informed what's happening now. That's the brilliance. Now reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bend forward. Step or jump back, or jump, jump, jump back. Now have the feet hip width apart. The first dog pose was when the legs were wider. And now see if the arm positions, right, have helped you with your armpits now. The armpits should feel thin, long, side ribs long, outer thighs back, back of the crown of the heel down. Good, Marina. These look good. Lubna, make sure that, yeah, the hands are turned out. Peggy, that's good. So you are bearing good. Lana, that looks good. Lindsay. Let me see Lindsay. Lindsay, this is Lindsay M, Lindsay Minter. I want you to imagine, go back up again, go back up. And just for you, I want to imagine like I'm holding your outer thighs because I really want you to get length in the lower spine because you're very mobile there. Okay, now see if you can move good. I know the top is bellowing. See if you can move the chest to the leg side. So Janet, we're in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Tom, this looks really good, your armpits. Move the chest through. Move the chest toward the leg side. Move it. Those of you who have restriction in your upper back, this will be challenged. Remember when Lana demonstrated this, go forward and back, work with motion, go forward and back. If you need to come down, please do. Otherwise, move the chest to the leg side. Good. That's it. Many of you benefit by this, that movement. Okay. Now, walk your hands back toward your feet. So your feet are hip width apart. Take the very first stage of Uttanasana, where the back is concave. Now, I want you to find, everyone in the room is different. Some of you will need to be on fingertips, turning the flesh of the biceps, just like you did in dog pose, now that you have it in your cellular memory. Some of you will need blocks on the low side. Tom, you'll probably need it on the medium to high side. If you show me in profile, I'll be able to tell. Marina, watch how the weight is now. The legs have lost their perpendicular quality and your weight's going into the toes. So walk back so your hands are directly underneath your shoulders and your legs. Imagine your legs up against the wall. We've done that pose so many times. You need to propriocept. So chin up, look forward from the bridge of the nose. Yeah, so your hands are on the floor, not on the feet. And you're turning your skin, turn the arm skin, that upper bite, just the concave. Lindsay V, that's good. Lindsay M, good. All right, Julia, that's it. And now place the hands on the hips. Good, Nancy, and inhale, up you come. Val, you're going into a smidge of darkness there. I don't know if you want to turn it so I can see better, turn the light on a little bit. All right, so similarly to what we did on, oh, hi, Elaine, you just came in, good. Missed dog pose, most of it. All right, so watch, I asked for you to have 2 belts. If you don't have 2 belts, not a problem. You'll use one of them for the traction, and the other you can use a belt or one of those Flexiband strips or a towel even. All right, so just to go over this rather quickly. So I just want to show you the 4 positions that we're going to be doing all to the right, and then we're doing them to the left. And we haven't done it this way ever before, except on Tuesday. Okay, so this is the way Mary Ann taught it. Because she was saying that oftentimes and Janet, I was thinking of you when I was in this class, because she said that there's an overemphasis on stretching the hamstrings in the supta cycle, and to rather look at it through the lens of deep hip flexion. So I'm just, unlike I learned from Tuesday, thank you all. So I want to show you the whole cycle so there's no gaps, all right? Watch. So I have my traction belt on. Notice how the tail is moving to the outer thigh, and it makes a difference in this way of doing it. So I'm adjusting well. And then we're going to start with Ekapada. So just watch for a moment. Okay, then we're going to do, this is my shin. So here my shin in Ekapada is parallel to the ceiling. Second position, part B, it's perpendicular. Then I'm going through this quickly. You're going to put the strap on. Okay, so I'm back in the shin perpendicular, and then I stretch my leg. So unlike the usual way, we're not starting at 90 and moving the leg. It will hopefully wind up so that your foot is over your face. And then we're going to do 2. And then we're going to bend the leg, extend. Then we're going to do 4, which you all know and love. And then 3, and today, some of you will need another strap, Lubna, for your inner thighs to resist. You'll pull down the strap to do 3 on the traction side, the right leg. All right, so I just wanted to show that quickly as you get situated. Lubna, you can have, so that would mean 3 belts, but use your traction belt, or you could also put your arm. All right, let's see. I mean, that's the advantage of, like, you all who I know, you've been taking my class for years, we know what to do for you all. Okay, so ideally have the feet at the wall. I should have said that before, sorry. Okay, so remember, get situated with the traction belt. So remember that belt was not in the groin itself, but 2 inches below. And then start with Ekapada. Lana, yeah, you need to, yeah, not so much light there. Okay, Val, the light's good now. Lana, you have light? All right, you got the Flexiband?
It's like pitch black outside.
Yeah, wow. It's like here too, but you're later now.
Yeah.
All right, I can see your beautiful face with the white shirt. Okay, here we go. Ekapada. I want you to stay in Ekapada. Good, Betsy. Hold the shin. Yeah, those of you longer arms, hold the shin. If you have shorter arms, the back of the thigh or the knee. That's it, Lindsay V. You can hold the knee. Those of you who can't hold the shin, not a problem. Okay, flex the foot, get in. So we're using, again, so Andy, start with Ekapada. So here's what I want you to get from this, if anything at all. We're using, here's the explanation. We're using deep hip flexion as a means for hamstring length, which is not the way we typically do this pose. So have the shin parallel to the Ekapada, parallel to the ceiling. Wait there. So we're spending about a minute in Ekapada. Hold the shin, hold the shin, hold the shin, hold the knee, hold the back of the thigh, those of you who have shorter arms. Wait there. All right, now shin perpendicular. So oftentimes we don't do this one. Shin is perpendicular, and you can put the strap across the foot. I'll switch over to my other side to show you, right? You're aiming to get the knee into the armpit. So I want you to observe how the right knee is moving into the right armpit, and the inner right thigh is right up against your inner side ribs. There's an adjacency. Good, Julia. Good. So many of you who are getting the knee almost to the floor, like Yukiko and others, this deep hip flexion may not be as critical for some others of you. So we're using the deep hip flexion, especially if your hips are tight, to help get that corresponding length in hamstrings. So I want you to stay about a minute, even though the tendency is for the mind to go elsewhere. See if you can stay, good, Marina, with the shin perpendicular. Good, good, good. Flex the foot, shin perpendicular. Aim to get the knee close to the floor, or on the floor. Okay, then put the strap and stretch the leg up. So now you can see the leg should be beyond 90 versus starting at 90 and moving it beyond 90. Now repeat that same thing 6 more times. Go from deep knee flexion, pause, stay about 15 seconds, and then straighten the legs. And repeat 5 more times. Deep knee flexion, I should say hip flexion. It is knee flexion as well, but it's deep hip flexion. That's it, Julia. But aim, Julia, not to let the root of your right thigh drift back, right? So keep what I say, keep the leg in its airspace. Those of you like Lindsay, and others who, the hips are deep already, there's deep hip flexion, you'll find this easier. Janet, it'll be interesting to see what, not so much what I'm seeing on the screen, but how you feel doing it this way. Do that about 6 times. That's it, Janet. But don't let that, I know it's hard, don't let that upper thigh, keep the leg in its airspace. You've worked hard to get that. That's it, Anne. Good. Keep it in its hip space. Don't let it go back. Yes, you could put your hand there, Marina. That was a wise idea. Okay. So again, this may or may not be helpful to you. Hopefully it is. Nancy seems to be having video trouble. Okay. Now stay with the straight leg. All right. Now, so the leg is straight beyond 90. All right. Now, hold the strap with the right hand. Keep the left thigh down. Hips are compact so that the left thigh doesn't fly up. And now go to Supta 2 out to the side. Out to the side. Right arm is straight. Turn the right arm as you did in dog pose from the inside out. Now try this, because hopefully the leg is higher. Maybe some of you, the leg I can see is in line with the shoulder. Bend the leg, and this will help for those of you whose foot is not in line with the shoulder. Now see if you can reach for the big toe of the right foot. We didn't do this on Tuesday. Reach for the big toe of the right foot when the right leg is bent. Otherwise, you'd have to have a gargantuan long right arm if it was straight. Okay, now slowly straighten the leg, because we're going to be doing this in Utthita Parsvakonasana. Tom, raise the right leg a little bit up in the air and let the left knee fall out to its side. Yeah. So you've got to keep that grip, Tom, in your outer buttocks so you don't go with the right leg and the left leg doesn't fall into the median line. Okay, now Supta 4. So you're placing the right foot. Some of you may not need the belt into the crook of the left elbow. The right arm is a new arm position. Gomukhasana, take that. Hi, Nancy, you're back. Right arm is behind you. Lift the chest, lift the head, relax the throat, relax the neck. If you need to wedge in a bolster, please do. Supta 4. Can do if you need to do figure 4 for whatever reason, that's fine too. But the left foot pressing in at the wall will help many of you. Good. All right, now take the leg up, hopefully so you can still hold the big toe. For a moment. All right, now pull the right strap down. Hold the second belt with your left hand. And now staying on the median line as you pull the belt down on the right outer hip, cross the right leg over to the left, resisting the inner thighs away. Lubna, you can use the arm, turn the belly left to right. Supta Padangusthasana or Ekapada Jethara Parvatasana. Good. Yukiko, that's good. If your leg is lower than 90 degrees to the trunk, so Tom, yeah, then bend that right leg now, bend it. No, the right leg, not the left, the right. That's it. As it crosses over so that the right leg maintains its at least 90 degrees. All right, now take the leg up. Well done. All right, and then bend and stretch. It'd be interesting to see this. I just thought when watching you, it'd be interesting. I hope I remember, or someone can remind me. Lindsay, you can remind me toward after we finish some standing poses, perhaps repeat this and we'll see what we get. Take traction belt. Now it goes on obviously right arch, outer left hip. Be at the wall now that you're settling in, and I didn't say it at the beginning. Okay, good. All right, remember, what I'd like you to do is this, guys. Start in Ekapada for about a minute, then do shin perpendicular, aiming to get the left side adjacent to the left side of the rib cage, and then the leg keeping it. This is what I mean by in its airspace. Marina, I saw you hold the back of my thigh. That was a good idea. All right, so here we go. All right, Ekapada first. So again, just to hit home the point, we're using deep hip flexion in service of the hamstrings, but also in service of the hips, especially in Supta Padangusthasana 2, and for that matter 4, and for 3. All right, wait there. I want you to also appreciate that this is not the way I usually teach it. We usually start at 90 for the side ribs to be even, for the pelvis to be balanced, and then we move the leg. So now we're starting with deep hip flexion. Now shin perpendicular, shoulder foot parallel, stay another minute. Stay another minute. Of course, the Supta cycle is one of the best things you can do. If you only have time to do one thing, you can do this, every day. To the right, to the left, you can do one on right, one on left, and all the many iterations we've done. That's it. Okay. Now, some of you can hold the big toe. That's fine, especially if this left leg's a little bit more easeful than the right. And now from the shin perpendicular, take the leg, aim good, Ellen, to get that foot in line over the face. And then repeat 6 times, right? Go from the deep hip flexion where the shin is perpendicular, that's a bow, and go, that's it. Bow just like that in that manner. Good. And you're not letting the leg fly back. That's good. Now I can see that in profile. I can't see it. I know some of you have different configurations. If your head is forward to me, then it's really hard for me to see. Lindsay, that's good. That was really why you can put your hand, you can put the right hand, as Lindsay's doing on the left side, at the back of your left hamstring to keep that leg secure, achala. Keep it achala. Don't let it ricochet. Good, Lubna. Back. That's it, leg. All right, then aim on this 6th one, hold the big toe, and perhaps, just perhaps, Janet, it's your very best Supta Padangusthasana 1. Aim to get the foot in line with the face, over the face, as the left leg is now straight. So this is, again, just another means of coming into it. All right, now we're going to do Supta 2. So those of you who are holding the big toe, then keep it. Take your right arm out, and now go out with the right leg. Remember, you're on the central line of your axis. The median line of your trunk is facing straight on toward the ceiling. You're not going with the left leg as you turn the belly left to right. Remember, those hips have to be compact. Lindsay V, it almost looks like the left leg is too close to the floor. Yeah, I want you to feel it sit, some gripping in that left buttock. It should feel very similar to when we sat in swastikasana with the yoga pata on. Okay, now bend the left leg and do exactly, think of Utthita Vajrakanasana to the left. Those of you who know when I say Utthita Vajrakanasana, think of that pose. So you're holding the big toe with your left hand, hold the big toe with the left hand, and then extend through the core of the heel. So we're still on Supta 2. We're still on Supta 2, bending and straightening, bending and straightening. Yes, we're using this kind of detour so that you'll see the similarities down the road when we come to do Utthita Vajrakanasana, bent leg to Utthita Trikonasana. Okay, now we're doing Supta Padangusthasana 4. Place the left foot into the crook of the right elbow. Reach around. If you need to do a figure 4 iteration, fine. Don't worry. Luna, lift the shin up. Shin, yes. Now lift head up. Yes. So you see, widen the gap, Luna, between the calf and the thigh. Good leg. Everybody needs to clamp that right thigh down because you know it really flies up. Use the wall. You can raise the heel up at the wall, the right heel. Tom, that's good. Well done. I won't keep you long, although we should time this for 2 minutes, not today. All right, now take the leg up. All right, now pull down with your left hand. Use your left hand to pull the tail of the traction belt to the right heel. So you're pulling down on the left hip, creating space for the abdomen to turn, and then you're crossing the left to the right and turning the belly in Supta Padangusthasana 4 from the right to the left. Turn. That's it. Turn, turn, turn. So you can see how this cycle is so beneficial for the hips and using that deep hip flexion in service of the hamstrings. Well done. Lindsay, V, that's really good. All right, now take the leg up. All right, and then just rest in Supta Tadasana for a moment with the legs outstretched to the wall, to the bricks, and just have the arms extended overhead, just to get length in the outer armpits. Yeah. If you want to close the chain, you can reverse yourself and have the hands to the wall. Okay. And now when you're ready, bend the legs into Dvipada. Now you should be prepared to merge the belly with the thighs, flexing through the feet, opening up the soles of the feet. See if you can merge the abdomen with the thighs. Let the abdomen deflate. Hold the shins or the knees or the backs of the thighs. Good. All right, now we'll come to stand. We're doing Utthita Trikonasana and then Vrikshasana. So you can do Utthita Trikonasana triangle pose facing me. If you want to put your hand on a block on the outside of your right heel, that's fine. Instead of the hand being on the shin, that's a wonderful way, especially for those of you who want to feel your shoulder blades and work with that iteration for some time. Okay, so let me adjust this for a moment. So stand in Samastiti with the feet joined. You're using the block, you would have it to the right side of the mat. Again, pronate your palms flat on the roots of the thighs. Move the thighs back. Press the big toe mounds down, lift the arches away from the floor. Lift your side ribs up, take an inhalation as we did earlier, and use the breath to lift the chest up. Feel the fullness in the top shelf of the chest. The abdomen will feel narrow in that action. And then when you're ready, take the hands to the level of the chest, jump or step the feet wide apart. Go wide so that the spine can elongate. All right, now you're turning the right leg out from the root of the thigh, and then find out if your right hip has dropped. So lift up from the right side of the pubic bone. We're not aiming to square off the hips. We just don't want to have the hips wind up like this. We're listing into the left hip and letting the right side of the pelvis drop. So lift the right side of the pubic bone up. And now as you press the outer edge of the left foot down, come into Utthita Trikonasana, full pose. You need to place the left hand on the hip, that's fine. Otherwise, you don't have to do that every time. All right, now aim to get the side walls of your chest parallel to each other. I know that's hard. Peggy, if there's any way you can face frontally, it's a better angle, I think, for me to take a look at it. Just use the purple mat instead of the blue. That's it. Janet, that's good. Lana, let's see on this right side. Use that tapping in method that you did the other day. All right, now press both feet down, inhale, up you come. All right, let's do the other side, left side. Come back to Samastiti so you don't shortchange the spine on the left side. Thighs back, side ribs up, take an inhalation, fill the upper armpit chest. Do that in a way that doesn't tighten the throat. And then again, jump or step the feet wide apart. All right, now, just like we did on the other side, when you turn the left leg out, don't drop the left hip. So I want you to find those indents, right? The hips are compact. Remember the yoga pata that we used at the beginning, those of you who use the yoga pata. All right, outstretch the arms and now pressing firmly into the feet, come into full pose, Uttita Trikonasana. Aim to get, you see how this left side is parallel to my right side. Some of you can employ this method of send a message to the top side of the rib cage, that skin, to relax so that the muscles can move away from the ceiling, thereby elongating the side walls of the chest, both the left and the right. Stretch the arms equally away from each other. And it looks good. Oh, that's Lubna. Not in Lubna. Move the right side of your top chest away from the ceiling. Lindsay, be careful. You know, I know, just make sure you're not feeling any weight on that left leg there. All right, now inhale, up you come. All right, now stand on your left leg. If you need a wall, that's fine. We're doing Vrikshasana tree pose. So I want you to get the indents in tree pose. You're going to raise your right leg as high up to your perineum as possible. Outstretch the arms, find the shoulder blades, and then bring the palms into the arm position of Urdhva Namaskar. So let's do the legs first. Yeah, legs first. You're standing on your left foot. Raise the right foot up. Reach from the inner right groin to the inner knee. Everybody needs to move the right buttock down, compact the hips, and then stretch the arms out. Find the shoulder blades, and then Urdhva Namaskar. Touch it. Touch the palms together. If that's not possible, you can do it in this manner, palms in the center of the chest and go straight up. For many people, it's easier to decentralize and then reach up. So now we're in Vrikshasana. Okay, now take the arms down, take the leg down. Now do Uttita Trikonasana to the right. So now the front leg, see how Vrikshasana buttock informs the Uttita Trikonasana right buttock. All right, so now we're on to the right side. If you feel not stable, then of course use a wall. That's you know, categorically in all the classes, if you need to put the left foot on the wall. All right, so turning the right leg out, get those indents, and then reach out. So remember, your right buttock is moving away from the right side of the waist, right? Your lower spine is elongated. See how Vrikshasana informed Uttita Trikonasana, triangle pose to the right. Make the side ribs even, Steven. Top side not longer than bottom side. And now press the feet, inhale, up you come. And now standing on the left leg, take Vrikshasana on the right leg, take Vrikshasana, aerial left leg. All right? Aerial left leg. Firm it. Janet, that's good. You can skin on skin always work. So you don't, yeah. Resist the temptation to list to your right. So if you get the compactness, good, Betsy, I can see the hips look nice and compact, and then palms together. There's a compactness and evenness, samapita across the palms. Left buttock should be moving down. Anyone who needs to do it with a chair in front of them or a wall beside them, wonderful. Lubna, that's really good. All right, now take the arms down, and then of course, left leg in front, Utthita Trikonasana, and then ask yourself, what did Vrikshasana teach me about or train my buttocks to do in Utthita Trikonasana? All right, to the left, to the left. I really should have had you show me from literally behind. Val, that's good. So we just did Vrikshasana, now we're doing Utthita Trikonasana, standing, Utthita Trikonasana, taking. Utthita Trikonasana to the left. Tom, go a little bit wider if you can. Rahel, I also think you could be a little wider. Didn't catch it on the other side. If you can, if it's not for the hips, then don't do. Because you know, in Utthita Trikonasana, if the leg stance isn't right, then the spine can't elongate. Okay, and now inhale, up you come. Lindsay, you can do, get it for Utthita, we're doing Utthita Prajnakonasana. And if the foot at the right foot you can do it with the foot on the block at the wall, but if that doesn't work, then do a front facing Kuchanasana. If you don't want to know what I mean, I'll show it to you. Or Lana can. All right, so watch everyone. I wanted to show you this, what we're doing. All right, so now we're doing Utthita Prajnakonasana, seeing how Vrikshasana and Utthita Trikonasana has informed us. So compact hips, and then as I descend the root of the thigh, actually, you know what? Before we do this, can we do Utkatasana? I know everyone's not so favorite pose, because what Utthita Trikonasana, what Utkatasana teaches you is how to descend the thighs. It also, which is the hard part, teaches you to create length in the lower spine. So I want you to see that my trunk is not 90 degrees, but it is upright. It's not this, all right? Nor is it this, and nor is it this, right? So what I'd like to see is an upright lower spine. So if you're helped, and I think some of you are helped by using the wall as a proprioception device. So I'm going near the wall, I'm not having the knees touch the wall because I don't think that worked Tuesday, but I'm using the wall as a proprioception device to keep my chest parallel to it, all right? Remember, let your gaze be outward, not downward to the floor. All right, join the feet. We're taking the full pose, cutting to the chase quickly. All right, now just pronate the palms on the roots of the thighs. All right, because you're asking the thighs to descend. Now raise the toes up like we did earlier in Tadasana to get the weight back into the heel. Take the arms up, toes up, arms up, toes up. And now descend, have the memory of the thighs, hands on the thighs, descend the roots, but not at the expense of losing, Julia, a little more upright. Lindsay, I'm good. A little more upright. That's it, Lana. A little more upright. That's good. Lindsay V, a little more upright. Nancy, good. Yukiko, the buttocks are moving behind. So you have to move your posterior tailbone to your anterior tailbone. All right, Rahel, that's good. But I would say, Rahel, I almost think that you're almost too vertical. So I know it's a smidge, I'll call it just a pitch. So you are absolutely 90 degrees because, you know, I don't want you to, here's the thing, you can only go down. So it's true. Let me just clarify with Utkatasana because there's always so much confusion. In the end, the thighs will be parallel to the floor, but that's a lot to ask at the expense of the lower spine. It's a rare bird who can do that. So let me just show this quickly. So it is true that we're aiming to, it is true that we're aiming to get the thighs parallel to the floor where the pit of my knee is in line with my buttock bones. But that's a very hard thing to do without taking the trunk forward. So it's kind of a playful balance. You can go down, go down, go down, but not be at the expense of the trunk coming too far forward. And this is what I would say is too far forward. So here my thighs, it's true, parallel, but this is not the shape of the pose. So to the degree that you can go down and keep your lower spine elongated, that's your Utkatasana. I hope that makes sense. Tom, that's good. All right, take it one more time. Use the wall if it helps, otherwise no need to. Elaine, that's really good. Now sit down a little bit more, but not at the expense of the lower spine marina overarching. Watch, remember the abdomen, Lindsay, and that's really good. Marina, now I can see that you're overarching. Julia, good. All right, these look good. Well, these have come a long way. Now inhale, up you come. All right, now take Utthita Prajnakonasana. Lindsay Ann can do the front facing Akunchanasana. So what I mean is this way. So the chair is here, I think you know this. And you're just doing kind of that front facing. You can start with the left leg perpendicular to the floor. And then I don't know if you were here for the time we step back and back and back and back more for the groin, but that should keep you busy. All right, here we go. Utthita Prajnakonasana to the right, everyone, and then we'll have some fun. All right, so join the feet. Jump the legs wide apart. Now see how Utkatasana informs Utthita Prajnakonasana. Turn the right leg out. Now I like to put the right hand on the root of the thigh and sit down. Now it's easier. Now it's easier to get the thigh parallel, though it's not completely easy. Now watch, when you get the thigh parallel, don't let the shin move forward. The foot marina needs to stay in line with the knee, remember? All right, now the classic pose where the right hand is on the outside of the foot. And I purposely didn't say take a block because most people don't need the block. All right, see if you can remember what I talked about, merging the right side of the rib cage with your inner thigh. It's okay to use the block, Marina, in that manner. All right, let's see, Lindsay. That's fine. You can also do Virabhadrasana 1, Lindsay. All right, these look good. Peggy, good. Get that knee into that armpit. We spoke. Janet, this is what's happened the last time. So too wide a stance and the foot you can see is traveling outward. I don't want to keep you long in the pose. Good, Ellen, same thing. Foot is forward of the knee. Now inhale, up you come, and you're good. All right, left side. So here's the thing, guys. Oftentimes, this is what I often see. People, let me show you from this. Teacher says, get a block. Okay, so I get a block. And and they use it in this manner, right? Do you see how there's a big gap? I'll make it even more obvious. Big gap between my ribs and my inner thigh. My shoulder's higher than the hip. That's not it, okay? So I have to take the hand down further to merge the leg with the trunk. And that's the pose where the trunk, and then you can use the surface of your thigh to turn the trunk away from the floor. Now, for people who have hip issues, this pose is often problematic. Well, I don't know if you're thinking about this now, in which case, most of the time, they have to do Utthita Prajnakonasana in this manner, or front-facing, Parsva Akunchanasana. So those of you who have any groin pain in that pose should elevate your right leg onto the seat of a chair and do it in this manner. And then I would say, if that bothers you, then do a front-facing Akunchanasana. Okay, Rahel, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. What I feel is that when we let people bring those ribs to the thigh, everything falls down. There is no lift in the pose. Am I wrong with that?
No, I think you're right, but I would pair. So this is where we call a double action. So I understand what you mean. So if you're merging the trunk with the thigh, energetically, there's a lot of weight, Rahel, on the hip. And oftentimes you'll see someone sink, which you're referring to. There needs to be a buoyancy in the pelvis. They feel a sinking position as the right buttock bone comes closer to the floor. So again, it's like a play. To the degree that you merge the abdomen with the thigh, you also have to play with the ascension of the right buttock away from the floor. And this is why we have to be creative and play around in our own bodies. So what I would say to your point, and this is where Lindsay feels it, is that if there's a sinking feeling energetically in the pelvis, I suspect you have to raise that right foot off the floor and or not come down as deep. So Rahel, to answer hopefully the question, the pelvis should feel actually like it's ascending away from the floor, not sinking to the floor. So let let the organic principle come in. Let that be your North Star. Okay, here we go to the left, and then I promise you the fun. All right, Utthita Parshvanattanasana to the left. Those of you who need to have the left foot on the block would be at the wall, on the mat. Go. All right, let's see Lindsay and let me say. All right, Utthita Parshvanattanasana, that's it, Elaine, go, touch it, yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Oh, you can do that. Although now, yeah, Lindsay, I was thinking that you were going to do that, of course, knowing that, you know, that's a whole different family now of poses. Good. Lubna, I'm glad to see that you put the foot at the wall. It's very, very good. Now that's excellent. Okay, now good, Gail. All right, now inhale up, you come. There's a lot to, we could make a detour on Utthita Parshvanattanasana. And I'll just put it out there. Any of you want to send me an email about this? There's a lot more to this pose, I will say. But we've covered it to the degree that I want to cover it today. Now watch what we're going to do. So if you recall, we did Supta Padangusthasana 2. I had you go out to the side, hold the big toe with the bent leg and stretch, bend and stretch. So today, what we're going to do is use that in Utthita Parshvanattanasana to Trikonasana. So I know I have my sneaker on, but you can imagine that I'm going to hold my big toe between my first two fingers, index finger, middle finger, and thumb. All right, so watch, Lindsay, you can do Virabhadrasana 1 or just go back to Utthita Trikonasana. So I'm coming back to my very finest Utthita Parshvanattanasana. This time, my arm, instead of being on the outside, is on the inside because I have to hold the big toe, which is on the inside. And then I'm going to straighten and take Utthita Trikonasana. So I'm holding the big toe, Utthita Parshvanattanasana, which is really helpful to open the groin toward the screen, and then Utthita Trikonasana, Utthita Parshvanattanasana, Utthita Trikonasana, which is just exactly what we did in Supta 2. Does that make sense, everyone? I hope so. Okay.
Ronnie, quick question, sorry. When you're going into triangle pose, is it better to move your hand up or?
Yes, I'm sorry, that's my fault. Yes, so as you straighten the leg, Nancy, then you can remove the fingers that are then holding the big toe higher up on the inner ankle or shin in order to straighten the leg. Okay, some of you will need that. Okay, but some of you won't. All right, so I want you to straighten the leg, Nancy. All right, so the priority is not holding the big toe, Nancy, it's straightening the leg. Okay, all right, here we go. Back to the Samastiti, thighs back and jump. Compact the hips, turn the right leg out. Utthita Parshvanattanasana to the right. Have the arm now on the inside. Hold the big toe. Hold the big toe. Some of you can lift the toes up. Utthita Parshvanattanasana, holding the big toe. Don't let the inner knee collide into the median line. And now press the outer edge of the left foot down and begin to straighten the leg and come into Utthita Trikonasana. As Nancy said, if you need to track the hand up higher on the right shin, do. And then repeat. Rinse and repeat. Lindsay, that's good. If you're able to do that a bit because it's not staying long. Marina, that's good. Move the right buttock down, away from the right side of the waist. Marina, it's a really good, I almost think you're too wide, but it's hard for me to tell. Turn the inner knee to the outer knee with movement. Betsy, let's see, bend and straight. Yes, hold the big toe. Sense that you're taking the leg back with you, Betsy, so you feel the femur bone plug back into the hip socket. Healthy action on the hips. Well done. And now inhale up, you come. That's beautiful, Betsy. Change sides. Join the feet. All right, so Utthita Vajrakanasana, holding big toe, straightening the leg to Utthita Trikonasana. If you're not able to straighten the leg by holding the big toe, then by all means traction up the left hand higher up on the left leg. Okay, when you're ready, take it. Here we go. And go. That's it, Lubna. Hand is on the inside. Observe what that does for the groin. It will help you open that left groin, good Peggy, toward me. That's it, Marina. Now hold it. Keep the hold. Keep the hold. Take the leg with you, Marina. That's it. So it's interesting when you're holding that big toe, good Julia, you'll feel how the leg is being sucked back into the hip socket, right? The femur head moves back. Femur head moves back. All right. Now inhale and up you come. After you've done Trikonasana a few times. All right, now we're going to switch gears and go to doing some standing poses for a more cooling effect on the brain. And the first one that we're going to do is Ardha Chandrasana using the wall. So hopefully most of you have a wall. You'll need the block on the medium side. We're doing Utthita Trikonasana to Ardha Chandrasana with back against the wall to cool the brain. So now a shift of gears. This will feel nice on your pelvis. Ardha Chandrasana, that's it, Rahel, step back, yeah. Now see if you can get that left leg at least 90, if not higher, to aerate out the pelvis for an organic point of view. Remember, your right buttock bone should be aligned with your heel, not beyond it. So the weight needs to be at the back crown. That's good, Val. Lift up. Jenny, yeah. Lift up, Gail, yeah. Lift up. Have the right hand directly underneath the shoulder. These look good. Now sense that you're rolling back, like your wall is like almost like a back bender, right? So you have to lift the right side of your pubic bone up toward the ceiling as you kind of roll back. Those of you who have a trestle and have ever done Ardha Chandrasana on the trestle, it's like doing that now. None of that's good. Yeah. Well done. Use this to cool the brain. So it's true, standing poses build stamina, endurance, they're good for building vitality, but we can get hot and heated from doing them. This way is a way of doing Ardha Chandrasana for cooling. Of course, it can be cooling freestanding as well. Change sides when you're ready, standing on your left leg and step up into it. Aerate out the pelvis as you lift the left side of the pubic bone up. The back enjoys the coolness of the wall. That's it, Gail. Those of you who can raise the right leg a little bit higher so that you're widening across the pubic plate. Good. Well done. And then step that aerial right leg down. All right, now we do Parsvottanasana. I'm just laughing because I think we do that pose more than any other standing pose. But I want you to do Parsvottanasana. Some of you will need blocks in a cooling manner today. So let's just go over this. So watch. Remember when we started off today with Supta 1, Ekapada, and then shin parallel, then shin perpendicular. So basically, actually, why don't we all come down and do this again, because it'll make your Parsvottanasana really fun. All right. So I wanted you to connect what we did earlier in the beginning of the class to Parsvottanasana, and actually just being supine will cool you down. All right. So what you're going to do, you don't need the traction belt now. Watch. You're going to Ekapada, and then shin perpendicular, and then I'm going to hold the sides of my foot and take Parsvottanasana, lifting the head and lifting the chest. All right, so those, yeah, only need a belt if you can. So first Ekapada. Wait there. Merge the abdomen and the thigh. And then shin perpendicular. Wait there. Again, we're using deep hip flexion, Janet, for the hamstring. Yes, you can put your now left hand, Lindsay, yes, behind the right thigh. Keep that right leg in its place. Those of you whose leg is ricocheting back away from you, put your left hand on the back of the right thigh hold the big toe or hold the sides of the foot. And now lift the chest, lift the head, and get your shin to rest on your forehead. If you need the strap, Tom, take it. That's it. That's good, Andy. Okay, change sides. Of course, see the similarities between doing this and Parsvottanasana. So left knee and weight there. You need the belt, that's fine. All right, now shin perpendicular, deep knee, I keep saying knee flexion. It is knee flexion, but it's hip flexion. Now hold the outer edge of the foot or the big toe. Lift the chest, lift the head. Straighten the leg as you bring the shin to the chin. That's it, Lindsay. Janet, that's really good. Excellent, Elaine. Yes, you can hold the back of the heel. Those of you who are moving on, you can hold the back of the heel. All right, that's it, Lana. All right, now take Parsvottanasana. All right, so you can show me either in profile or frontally forward. So we're now doing that counterpart standing. So I'll just show it. I think we all know it. So it's this pose. Let me show you my better side. So again, I'm using this now. I want to cool my brain. So I don't want to take my arms up, although certainly that's an iteration to lengthen the side wall. So now I'm just coming, I shouldn't say just, my chest is coming forward as I press the roots of the thighs back. I bypass the concave and I go down, okay? To cool the brain, make it one smooth, singular sensation. All right, to the right. Go a little wider, Marina. Back heel can be at wall if you need it. If your back leg doesn't straight, then by all means, use the back wall. Do the needful, that's it. Now, bending at your hips, arms, don't raise the arms up because we're cooling the brain. Now bend forward, roots of the thighs back. Imagine I'm in your room. Like I said to Lindsay earlier in dog pose, I'm moving the outer thighs back and now go down. Bring the forehead to the chin. Now, if there's a big gap, you know what to do. Then try bending the leg, merge the abdomen. Luna, you can put the blanket in the way, yes, and go down. Go down. Elaine, good. Remember, get those hips compact. If you turn the back foot in too much, you'll have lost some of that compactness in the hips. The back foot should not be running parallel to the right foot because then you've lost the ability of the outer left ankle to make that hip compactness. And Rahel, that statement was for you too. And now inhale, up you come. I didn't want to give you too many instructions because when you give you instruction, when one gets instructions in the pose, the brain tends to heat because our mind is inclined outward again to understand the instructions, change sides. So what I'm saying is that when you do Parsvottanasana, there's a tendency, and I see this a lot, to turn the back foot in too much. If you made, in this case, the left leg's in front, if I have my right foot, which it is, parallel to my left front, I've lost the ability of that outer ankle to make that outer right hip compact. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And that's a slightly nuanced statement, but if you're able to experience it in your body, then that's really what I want you to experience. Okay, Parsvottanasana, no instructions, go down. Cool the brain. Now, we'll do Parsvottanasana. Don't turn the back foot in too much because you'll lose the ability to compact. Tom, now bend the front leg to merge the chest with the thighs. That's it. Well done. Let's see, good. Well done. Okay, now come back up. Let's sit down and do Upavishta Konasana. And then have the traction belt ready to go. Okay, Upavishta Konasana. So one of the things I had said, for Lindsay to remind me, but I'm remembering myself, the Supta cycle, we could do it now and it'd be interesting because I suspect having done the standing work, now going back to the whole supta cycle. We did one, Ekapada and Shin perpendicular. You got to see the relationship to Parsvartanasana. But had we had time to do the whole cycle, we would have had probably a very different experience than the one we did at the beginning. Adjust the feet, everyone, so that Tom, you can sit at the wall on some height. That the feet are perpendicular, and then lift the trunk. So remember, guys, the trunk is not pitched forward in this very first position, right? The trunk is upright. Don't let the feet roll in. Those inner knees should resist. Yeah, that's fine. Stay there. Yeah, do a, yeah, side to side, quasi-judger, yeah. Now go a little wider to broaden across the pubic bone, although you, Yokiko, you look wide now anyway. Okay, widen across the pubic plane. All right, now what you're going to do is take the belt, the traction belt that you know, hopefully is beside your hips. You might need to make it longer than the traction belt. This is why the belts from, or, you know, 10, ideally get 8 foot to 10 foot. And then resist with the traction belt on, resist your outer feet into the belt and break your belt with your feet. So you feel that clarification of the hips, but keep the trunk upright for this. We'll go forward, but not yet. That's good. So break the belt, break the belt. Val, you were in Mary's. She did this, I believe. You remember? Break the belt with your feet. Break the belt. Legs are still pressing. They belong to the floor. Good. And then quickly reach up with the arms straight. Take the arms down, take the belt off, and now come forward, Upavishta Konasana. You can hold the outer edges of the feet. You can extend the arms forward, although taking the arms forward is not for everyone, especially if your armpits and shoulders are tight. Go to the outer. Lindsay, you can come forward with the arms forward, but just seal the outer. So yes, those of you who are taking the arms forward and those of you who are more flexible in your lower spine, remember, send a message to your outer thighs, right here, Lindsay, outer, put your hands, everyone, on the outer thighs and go forward, because you don't want to lift the pelvis up. There's a tendency to make the buttocks unbound by earth. So no flying buttocks here. The outer thighs have to descend. Be with the earth element. Outer thigh is rooting down. There are times when we take the buttocks up, when we become unbound by the earth. We're just using Upavishta Konasana, coming forward before Shavasana. Tom, I would stay upright. Yeah, just be upright. Yokiko, try taking the hands to the outer edges of the feet. Lubna, that's good. The other possibility is taking 2 straps around each foot and coming forward, which might help you. That's another option. Line of the same thing. Okay, and now come back up, lie flat on your back, and I'd like everyone to do a Chatuspadasana. You can use your belt around your ankles, and about 10 times you're pressing the feet and lifting the pelvis, the mid buttocks away from the floor, aiming to get your chest perpendicular to the floor. All right. So bring the heels in as close to your buttocks as the knees will allow. If anyone's knees bother them, then by all means use the belt. Press the head. Those of you, Peggy, if you need the blanket underneath the shoulders, yeah, not so much the head. So the setup, let me just show that. So this is a better setup to have the blanket in this position. So just let me back up here. So the shoulder, my head is on the carpet, but the shoulders are on. And then I go up. All right. All right. So it's not really head or neck support, it's shoulder support. All right. And then go. Let's take a blanket for the shoulders and let's see what happens. Elaine, good, go up. Elaine, you can switch over, and Lana, if you were here on Tuesday and you want to do after this, a quick supported set to Bonda, can do now. Otherwise, I know we have to, running a bit late. That's it, Ellen, go up and down, Chatus scale, Chatus Padasana. Yeah. Fine to bend the arms, Val, that will get the lift of the armpit chest, the same for you, Janet, yeah. Elaine, take it with the feet at the wall. And Elaine, today, do what Mary Beth did. Walk, because you're at that next step where you can bring the feet to where the wall and the floor meet, Elaine. Lindsay can do the same. Many of you can do that. I shouldn't say that because I haven't seen this. That was inaccurate. Those of you who I saw on Tuesday. Lindsay, that's fine to do what you need to do. Okay. So Julia, Chatus or a supported Setu Bandha, that's it, Julia. And Julia, take the 2 blocks for your pelvis, and then you can have the feet, Julia, your hip flexors are long enough to get the feet on the floor. All right, so take it, move on. All right, here we go. Otherwise, you're in Chatus Padasana, Janet. Lift those backs of the hamstrings up. Ellen, that's good. Hold the sides of the mat. Remember, aim to get the chest upright. Betsy, you can do supported Setu Bandha with the 2 blocks underneath your sacrum and the heels down on the floor. So as I'm moving along action, I haven't seen that. You do that anyway. Okay. Lubna, Lubna, can I just see that again? Yeah. And then Lubna, at some point, you want to walk the feet. You can switch the blocks to the medium or low height and then to the nut. Okay, we'll work on this next week. Lana, I can see, yeah, the chest looks good. All right, now what I'd like you to do is, if you're in supported Setu Bandha, those of you in Chatus, that's fine. Prepare for relaxation. I think any setup, the chair setup with the lower legs on the chair. Some of you would prefer prone to internalize your conscious. Val, that's really good. Now just roll the outer thighs into the midline. Yes, and press the thighs down like you're in a chair back bend. Yeah, open the backs of the knees. Make sure you're not feeling anything in the back now with the legs outstretched. You have to roll, put your hands on your outer thighs, roll them into the median line, what we talked about the other day. Remember, bring weight as though you were standing on your big toes, Val. That's it, roll in, adduct for you, Val, adduct strongly. Okay. All right, so let's take Shavasana when you're ready. If you're in the pose, fine, stay in the pose, I have no problem with that. Yes, take your time, Marina, so that you're comfortable, warm. If you need to go to the bathroom, that's fine. Get a sip of water, good. That's it, Gail. Just relax. And just sense that you have a big gong in your room. Perhaps if you have a memory of being on a retreat where they use the gong, you can hear the bell, and use that as a reminder to be in the present, to be in the moment of now. See if you can find refuge in the now. Sense that the bell, the sound of the bell beckoning in the background is reminding you to be here now, the only moment we truly have. And you can use median line of your being, or the breath, or the touchstones of your body, be it the buttocks, or the feet, or the backs of the hands on the floor, to remind you of the now. So find a part that you can come back to. And then in noticing that part, you might consider the mental notation of there, as in THERE, 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 there. If that doesn't speak to you, you can use now, now, now. And if and when, and certainly it's not a question of if, it's when, the mind goes to something other than that bodily part, that touchstone or the median line or the breath, then just sense that it's something other than that, but it's a reminder to be there, to be now. So not to see it as a distraction, not to see it as an obstacle, but as what it truly is, which is the memory to come back to the here and now. In fact, it's in that memory that you've already been here. There. 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 And again, when the mind goes to something other than that mental notice, the fact that you've noticed, you've already been there. And then just simply begin again. There. Those of you who want to transition to an upright position, feel free. Perhaps choosing that same place if it's appropriate, median line, but and then when you're ready, you can gently allow your eyes to open if they're closed and stretch out your legs. Those of you who are still lying on the floor, roll to one side. So I'm going to unmute you. Oh, no, I can't do that. Sorry.